We are so excited to have Lindsay White this week on the HomeBod podcast. It's going to be a fun chat. She is joining us from Canada, and she is a sought after leadership coach and people strategist who believes that every business, no matter how small, deserves three things: great leadership, an impactful people strategy, and a culture that inspires. I totally agree with all three of those.
Yes.
She is passionate about guiding female entrepreneurs in creating the work and life blend they long for, which is my love language, and a leadership brand that is authentic and grounded in their own values and purpose. Her powerful coaching style, she leverages her extensive background coaching senior leaders and executives, empowering small business CEOs as they develop and embrace their personal leadership practice. You have 15 years in talent management, which is awesome. And you're really good with people, matching people with other people. You're like a matchmaker for entrepreneurs and their teams, basically, I think is what you do.
Something like that.
Something like that. She's an entrepreneur, a working mom, first-time grandmother. I didn't know that. Congratulations.
Oh, yay.
That is awesome. And she knows, like we know, that the work-life blend can be difficult and challenging to create. She loves to coach and guide female business owners as they navigate their personal leadership journey. Her focus on people strategy, team engagement, and leadership development all help her clients drive their business goals while creating an inspiring culture. So after all that, welcome.
Wow. Yeah.
Welcome, Lindsay.
And you just rolled out a group coaching program, didn't you? Or you're rolling it out now?
Yes.
Did I
yes.
just that?
It's called the Inner Circle, and it's sort of a hybrid mastermind. So
cool.
Specifically for female entrepreneurs, small business CEOs, as in response to some of the things that I was hearing this summer and into the fall, which was female entrepreneurs, much like me, feeling very isolated, feeling very burnt out and stressed out after 20 months of carrying the financial weight of their business, the, mental health of their teams, the emotional stress of being, a mom, a partner, a sister, an auntie, a friend, and just really needing community and connection to be able to talk about the stuff that's keeping them up at night, and solve some of those problems. So created the Inner Circle, and we're just about to get started. And I'm pretty excited about it.
So awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I know that you are just north of Montana, right?
Yeah. So I'm in Calgary, which is in Alberta in Western Canada. And yes, we geographically are straight north of Montana, of Whitefish and Great Falls.
Which is where
my old stomping grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. It took about 2 hours to get from where I used to live in Kalispell just up to Calgary. So it's just a stone's throw over the border. That's all.
Yeah, so totally.
So fun. I love it. Well, we love talking about mindset here on the HomeBod podcast.
Yeah.
So where does mindset come into play in your business?
Yeah. So the truth is, it's really the foundational pieces. So when I'm coaching anyone, doesn't matter if they're own their own business or they're a leader in a corporate organization, it really is about mindset is the common word, but it's really about understanding, what is it that you really value? Those are the cornerstones, the pieces of who we are as a human. And not just understanding the words, but how they drive our behaviors, right? How that shows up and how sometimes we're in conflict with that, right? And how that creates just incredible unhappiness and disharmony in our life. And of course, layer into that your purpose. Like, what are you even doing here?
Yeah.
Why are you running around? And so to me, those things, which kind of summarize mindset, really underpin all the work that I do as a coach, as a consultant, whether it's in an organization or with an individual. It's really about defining and creating that first. And then layer into that what I'm working on right now, which is called mental fitness, which is really about managing that saboteur, that inner critic voice, and how to translate that into something where we can see the gifts and opportunities. And you put those three pieces together. And for me, that really summarizes your mindset.
Yep. 100%.
That's phenomenal. And I love how you combine, I mean, you really have to throw the purpose in there. If you don't have a purpose for something, it's not going to get done. I mean, it's that, Alice in Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, then it doesn't matter which path you take. And I see that a lot in homes. And so a couple of thoughts that I'm piecing together here as I listen to you speak. When it comes to leadership, as female entrepreneurs, we often do much better in leadership in our jobs, and doing what is our job description and getting things done, and we can hustle and we can be amazing. And then we get home and we kind of forget all of that. And sometimes it has to do with the relationship that we have. It's our family at home, where it's our coworkers at the workplace. And so we're just kind of one removed from everything at work. But at home, we tend to struggle just a little bit more because of the situation of where we are and how emotionally involved we are with everything going on at home. But I pair that with what my mom said growing up. She, I was fortunate to live in that time when a stay-at-home mom was a common thing. And she was the stay-at-home mom that said, but I run my home like a business. And everything was very organized, and it was, pushing forward. She was always proactive instead of reactive. Everything, had a plan and a purpose. And that's not necessarily a talent that I inherited. So I've really had to work at that. So talk to me. I mean, you did mention in your bio the work-life balance. So talk to the women who are in business, either entrepreneur, corporate, whatever. How do we handle our home differently than our business? How are we better leaders? How can we be better leaders at home versus better leaders in our business and our companies?
Yeah. So the short answer is you got to be a leader from the inside out. So that to me is the focus, is really creating that leadership brand for yourself and the style that helps you lead from within. And that does center around, what do you value? Why do you value that? How does that translate? And how do you bring that to life every day in every interaction that you have? How are you living your purpose? Are you using that as a yardstick? And then what happens is, it doesn't matter where you're leading. Doesn't matter where you show up, whether you're leading from the front at work, you're at the, front of the boardroom, given the presentation, whether you're leading from behind, whether you're co-leading in your family with your partner, or whether you're leading at large in your community. When you know who you are and how you want to show up as a leader, then you have the opportunity to exercise that in whatever interaction, whatever relationship you're in. So that, I think, is really key. It's also key in creating that work and life blend that I talk about, because I don't believe in work-life balance. I think that's garbage. The truth is, you're no sooner balanced than the school calls and your kid is barfing, then your vendor calls and your shipment's not going to come in, then your boss calls and says, I need that tomorrow at 8 a.m. Balance, like, the truth is, balance just plays into that perfectionist space that we all struggle with as wives and mothers and partners and women in business. So I believe in blending it all. And I think at the center of that blend, the center of it is, who am I as a leader? And how do I want to show up in my world? And if I can get that right, then I stand a chance at making everything else work.
I love that, because I'm reflecting on my last few years, and actually my last 10 years when I was in the corporate world and working for other people. I was not in a good place mentally. I know now. I did not know that then.
Yeah.
And looking back, I got fired a lot. Just full disclosure, I got fired a lot. And it was because of how I acted, clearly. But I know now, looking back, if I had been in the place where I am now, I wouldn't have acted the way I did. Therefore, I might have been able to hold on to a job. But I was acting out of the emotions that I had not processed, the feelings I hadn't dealt with.
Yeah.
And over the last couple of years, now that I've taken the time to get to know myself,
Yeah.
Figure out who I am, figure out how I tick, to spend some time alone, like with me, myself, and I.
Yeah.
Now that I know the way I tick and I know what's going on, and I've addressed the things that were buried deep, that were exploding out in the form of anger and meanness and bitchiness
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah.
Now that I've addressed that, I feel like I could go back and do a way better job.
Totally. Totally. And I say to my clients all
Publicly
the time,
apologize to all of my employees
right?
that
Yeah.
work for me, because I
Yeah.
was bitching to them,
Sorry.
and I'm sorry.
Sorry for my behavior that I didn't know why I was doing. No, I totally
Uh-huh.
get it. It's true though. And I think, I mean, that's a journey for all of us, Heather, right? Like when you know better, you do better. That's Maya Angelou, and it just makes perfect sense. But the truth is, like I say to my clients all the time, you cannot read the label from inside the bottle, right? You absolutely
Yeah.
need,
Yeah.
need a trusted,
Yeah.
you need a trusted safe space to do that exploration, because that's hard work, right? That's really hard work, Heather, and I commend you for doing it.
It is
It
hard.
is unpleasant. It is really hard work to really uncover, like, what is it? What is causing me to behave this way? And often, very, very often, it is one of our values that's going unfulfilled, that's in conflict. You know, sometimes there's trauma behind it,
Yeah.
and you really, you know, what and circumstance, like all of that. But you need to tease that apart. You need a safe place to do that. That's why I think coaching is critical, like really for everyone. And I was just speaking with someone the other day who was like, well, I've been working with a therapist and I'm not really getting anywhere. Well, often that's rear view mirror, right? It's what's happened to us to get us to where we are today.
Yeah.
Whereas the coaching is all about, who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? How are you going to get there?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's stuff you have to
just said that.
unpack.
It's funny you just said that, because I was just reflecting back. One of the jobs, they sent me to anger management. And I don't think I was that out of line, but this guy really pissed me off, and I went off on him. And so they sent me to anger management, but it was basically a therapist, and it did me zero good. And then I worked with a coach on my own down the road. So have you seen organizations offering coaching versus, you know, therapy or anger management or whatever? Have you seen organizations recognizing this, that maybe if they get a coach for their staff, that they might do better?
Yeah. And let me be clear, there's a space for all of these modalities, right? There are absolutely people that need therapy. They need a trained professional, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, to support them in working through their trauma. I don't do that, right? That's not what I'm about. Anger management is about tools to help you manage your anger.
Right.
But you're right. Like it's more than that. It's about understanding, well, why did I go off at that guy? Well, because ultimately, in the work that I am doing and the organization I'm in, I feel deeply disrespected. Exactly. I feel dishonored. I do not feel like I am heard and seen. I feel like I'm underpaid and overworked. And that is compromising my values of respect and of success and of, right? Then we
Where
can
were
start
you
to
10 years ago, 15 years ago? I needed you.
Sorry. But maybe we can help some people. Maybe we can help some people right now.
All
right?
of those things, Lindsay. It was
all
every
of those
single one of those things.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
It's when we do not have the space to, well, first of all, we don't have the understanding, right? Yeah. And I'm not talking about circling a bunch of words on a page that HR gave you. I'm about truly deeply understanding, like, what does that mean to me? And it's multi-layered. And one word, like respect, means if there's 7 billion people in this world, it means 7 billion things. Yeah. Like, what does it mean to you? And how does it look when it gets stepped on or violated or bumped against, or right? Anyways, I could go on for days, as you know.
Well, but this leads to a really good question, because not everybody is good at all the things, right?
Yeah.
We all have different skills, different talents, different abilities. And that's why we have, you know, corporations with all these different needs, because a company and within our own company as entrepreneurs, we need to wear different hats.
You bet.
And so, but having said that, we all need to be the leader of our own lives, and we all need to put our best foot forward with what is best for us. So talk a little bit about people who are natural leaders, how you help them hone in those skills to be just the best leader they can be. And talk about the people who are never going to be the CEO, who are never going to be the team lead, who are never going to be, who will always need to hire in somebody in their entrepreneur ventures to help them. So talk about the people who are really strong naturally at leadership versus the people who are not strong naturally at leadership, and what they can do to be the best version of what they do as the leader of their own lives.
Yeah. So first of all, I think what happens is we define leadership pretty narrowly, which is that person who is big and front and center, leading the charge, driving, creating vision, right? We see them and they're very present. But that's not the only way we can lead. And that's why I think it's important that we really understand what's our authentic leadership, because some of us can lead very effectively from behind. We create the space, we support others, we encourage, right? So first and foremost, understanding which is your leadership style. What makes you special as a leader? And if that means that you don't want to be at the front of the room, you don't want to be leading the charge, you're not big and loud and present like I am, that's super cool. What makes you special as a leader and how do you leverage that, right? Yeah. And you're right, understanding what are the limitations, okay? And being really clear and also really empathetic with yourself. And then I think it's important, especially as entrepreneurs, that when we're clear about what we do great and what we don't do great, then we find those people to fill those gaps, right? So maybe we do need someone in our business at some point who can be that vision setting person, who can be that rah-rah, who can be that motivator. Maybe that's not who I am. So I hire an operations manager to support my team who can really help dig into that. That doesn't mean I can abdicate my leadership responsibility.
Right.
It means I need to co-lead
right.
really effectively so that we can leverage each other's skills and experience.
Once you do that, that's where like an Ashley would come in, right? If I'm not very good at organization in my home, I know that, I recognize that. So I hire Ashley to come and help me organize. Or
exactly.
I was just saying, like, I despise Halloween. And one of the reasons I despise it is because I hate trying to come up with a freaking costume. I'm not a creative person. I've never been a creative person. But if you give me a costume and like put it all together for me, I will wear it. I don't have a problem with wearing it. It's the putting it together. So you can delegate it out, whether it's in your home or in your work. The things that are not your zone of genius, which is the new popular term.
Totally. There are also opportunities for growth, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm someone who is, maybe I'm more shy, maybe I'm more of a quiet person, but I know that I need to step up and lead. That's my leading edge. That's what I got to grow into. Doesn't mean I'm comfortable. Doesn't mean I want to do it all the time, but it means that I'm aware of what I don't do well. And I am absolutely willing to step in and lean in on the stuff that I'm not so that I can grow, right? Because I know it's the right thing to do. So I think that there's opportunities to find the different way that you need to lead. And then what do you need in order to fill out that leadership space, right? And complement what you do and you don't have, and then be appreciative of those people that can bring sort of that new stuff, that different stuff, the pieces that, maybe we're not experts at.
I think that is a big deal when it comes to leadership for me, is to see the leaders who are willing to say, I am not all the things. I am not everything. I will find the complementary leaders. I will find the people that complement what I do best with what they do best, and, be able to swallow that pride and say, I'm not perfect. Like you said, to block out this perfectionism idea, no leader is going to be perfect by themselves. We need other people. So find that complementary role to really help you out. I think that is a huge mark of a good leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think every kind of leads into this. Into this. Question. Because, and this may be your answer, but do you try to make our whole thing here is to make our home, head, and health happy.
Yeah.
So do you try to do that? And what area do you try to do it in?
What area? Home, head, and health. Well,
or maybe all three.
So, certainly, being that this is, my passion, I am always trying to work on my own mindset, right? So I have my own practice, I do some meditation. I do some gratitude every night before I go to bed. What am I thankful for today? So I really do try and practice what I preach. I have my own coach because I think any coach that doesn't have their own coach is total garbage. So I really do practice what I preach. I wouldn't tell you that I'm necessarily always the most organized person, but I know that I function better when my home is clean and tidy. Right. And so I have to have help. Right. So I have some cleaners that come in every second week to help us because my husband and I are both exceptionally busy in our work. And then I dedicate time to, cleaning out specific spaces at specific moments. Cause I know that if that junk drawer is dirty, it's going to drive me crazy. Right. Yep. So
Yep.
I'm really clear about which things have to happen and when they have to happen so that I can have that. It's the harmony in my house that it really does make me nutty. Right.
Isn't that funny? Because it really does. My husband just was freaking out the other day. We have one of those silverware organizer things, for your fork knives.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fill in the drawer. And I put the little sticky rubbery mat underneath it, but now like the whole thing slides.
It slides.
It drives my husband crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Drives him nuts. And the other day, I don't remember where I was, but I came home and I see this measuring tape and all this stuff. And he's like, I put a bunch of things in your Amazon cart. Decide which one you want. And I was like, what is happening right now? He was so fed up with the silverware drawer sliding that he went on Amazon and measured everything and figured out which ones, because like drove him that crazy.
It's the little things, right?
One little stupid drawer.
The little things.
It's the little
things that paint the big picture.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I mean, I'm all about the harmony. And when I don't feel like my house is harmonious, when I feel like it's messy, when I feel like there's stuff everywhere, and I've still got one kid at home, so he leaves his crap all over the place. That has to, that only can go so far. And then we have to organize and make sure that things are put away where they need to be. And then everything just works much more smoothly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and take that into the workplace too. I mean, how many of us, it's funny to see there is no rhyme or reason as to who is organized at home versus who is organized at work. Yeah. Sometimes they're organized at both, sometimes they're disorganized at both, and sometimes they mix and match. But if we can do the same thing at work that we're trying to do at home, it's so much easier to take control of our own realm of, whatever we're supposed to be leading, that leadership within our own space. And to be able to say, if I were to look at my position as if I am getting it ready to hand it off to someone else, if I were to sell my business, my solopreneurship, if I were to sell or to pass off what I'm doing to the next, CFO or COO, whoever is coming in next after me, how would I put this together? How could I do it? And could I do it in a very short amount of time? Because it's easy to explain and it's easy to see. And it's so much easier to say, okay, do I know what I have? Do I have what I need? And do I know where to find it?
Yeah.
Do I know what I have? Do I have what I need? And do I know where to find it? And if I can do that, then I can be successful and organized in any space, space, home office, work office, anywhere, car.
Well, I can totally relate to what Lindsay said, with the harmonious thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Ashley, talk to me, are there people that genuinely don't care or do they just get desensitized to it? Because I can't fathom walking into a dirty, messy house every single day and just living that way. And I know people do. Do they do it because they don't care or they do it just because they've given up on it?
Everybody has different comfort levels. And like what Lindsay said at the beginning, we have to understand what leadership sounds like, because we think of this, big raw person coming in. Being organized, you have to understand what organized means. And it doesn't mean, we all think of it as being Pinterest perfect, as being in the magazines. And that's not what it means to everybody. As long as you know what you have and where you put it, that's being organized. And so when it comes to the way that people live, some people just don't care because they were never taught, or they truly just don't care. And other people do just kind of give up and say, this is hopeless. There's no point in me trying because it's never going to work. And I see a lot of parallels.
Sorry, I asked that because I
Yeah.
wonder that about people with their bodies also. You know,
Yeah.
I love people
Yeah.
watching. It's like my favorite hobby ever. And when I watch people, I wonder, like, when they're not in the best physical condition, did you choose to not care? Or have you simply just been like defeated? You're just, I tried, I quit.
Yeah.
Can I offer a thought? Well, right. So,
excuse me, sir.
No, right.
Are you happy with the fact that you're overweight?
I do think to some degree it goes right back to their values.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
What is important to me and why?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because we do, like, to your point, Ashley, about the Pinterest perfect, we get caught up in that, and that becomes the shoulds. Well, I should have the perfect entryway. I should have everything put away. There should be no, clothes on the, like, all of that, that's our saboteur. That's our inner critic talking. Right. And what happens is exactly, Heather, is we get completely defeated because I can never measure up to that.
Right.
And that inside voice is telling me I'll never look like those girls in that magazine. I'll never get into shape. Why are you even trying? You might as well just sit down on the couch and eat another piece of cake. Right. It's an inside job.
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
Right. So when we can go right back to, what do we actually value? What is really important? Well, being physically fit is important to me. Having my health. Right. Okay. So let's focus on that. What does that mean? What does that look like? How are you going to do that? What are the behaviors associated with that? Sure. That's when we can start to shift people, whether it's their fitness, whether it's, sort of being organized in their home. Like, I think that work is so critical to all of the things. And then managing that nasty inside judgy voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, absolutely. One of the biggest things that I teach people when it comes to these perceived values is that, there are so many other people telling me what I should be and who I should be and how I should do it. What I should have, what I should own, what I should go spend money on, what I should or shouldn't get rid of. That it's one of the biggest things that I teach people is, what is the true value of this to me right now, not to somebody else. And we think of valuing something and we forget about valuing time, valuing space, valuing our inner calm, valuing family time, there are so many more things to value than just a thing. And it absolutely, this is why we do this podcast, because we make these connections. All three of us are here living in three different worlds going, it's all about the value. What do you value and how can you get there? And it's phenomenal to be able to touch on these mindsets in all these different areas of our lives, and to be able to, if we get the mindset straight, look at how many paths it lays out flat in front of us, before us. Yeah. So it really does come back to the value system of who we are. And it doesn't have to look the same as the person sitting next to you. Everybody is different.
I was just thinking that. I was just thinking that's how you can have empathy toward other people. Like, yes, it is judgy to look at someone's house and be like, your house is a mess. But instead you can look at it and go, well, clearly, having a clean house or having an organized house isn't a high value for you, something else is. So I think that's a good way to be able to look at things a little bit more empathetically.
Totally. Or on the other hand, if you are that working mom, that entrepreneurial mom who comes home every night and thinks my family just destroys this house, it gives you the opportunity to have that difficult conversation with your partner and with your kids and say, I need you to understand.
Time for a change.
This is about respect. Yeah. And when you come home and you drop all of your school stuff and your muddy shoes and your jackets on the floor, it makes me feel like you don't respect and care for me. Yeah. Oh, mommy, that's not what we're trying to do. Okay.
Yeah.
But that I want you, even the little ones can understand this makes mommy feel bad, makes her feel like you don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, mommy, I care about you.
Right.
Okay. Then the way I need you to show me is I need you to hang up your coat. I need you to leave your muddy boots outside. And I need you to put your backpack in your cubby hole.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it just gives you the opportunity to help your family, help the people that you lead at work, right? Understand what's important and why it's important.
Instead of screaming and yelling at them, which is my method, and that doesn't work. So I should try that other way.
Right. It's just a whole nother level of conversation around all of these things.
Yeah.
Again, how we can show up differently in all the different aspects of our life. Then we can create a work and a life blend that's really meaningful for us.
Yeah.
Where we can feel joyful and fulfilled. We can feel like our values are being honored and we're living our purpose. Because isn't that what we all want? Like ultimately, that's what every one of us wants, right?
I want that. Yes, please.
I want that.
Right?
Yeah, right here.
As I'm thinking about my kids' clothes that are on the floor right now that I scream about every day.
Right.
I just need to go say, it hurts mommy's feelings when you do that.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll freaking listen.
Well, at least it's the start of a better conversation than just yelling.
Yeah.
Or we go to work and we have a team that's not performing. And instead of just getting angry and frustrated and pissed off, we can say to them, okay, what is happening here?
Yeah.
Right. We're a high performing team. This is important to all of us. What is getting in the way? How can I support you? How can I enable you? What roadblocks do you need?
Don't you want to work for somebody like that over the time?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I will totally get behind. Yeah. Let's go, boss. Like, what do we need to do? Yeah.
What do we need to do? What's happening for you?
Yeah.
It's real connection, right?
Yeah.
Whether we are a leader in a corporate environment or where we're leading in our own business, like what is happening here?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Creating those collective values in our organizations, ones that everybody can get on board with. Right?
So we mentioned, Lindsay, your new program that you're launching, but how else do you serve high achieving women?
Yeah. So yes. So the group program is an awesome place if you are looking for connection, community, those great conversations, the collective wisdom with other female entrepreneurs. I also, of course, work with women one-on-one in some leadership and executive coaching, which is just a beautiful, connected, powerful, really, truly transformational engagement where we get to focus on you. Of course, we start with values and purpose, and then we really try and understand how's that saboteur really beating you up? How do we get control of that so that you can really move forward with that agenda? So those are the two main ways. I also will come into organizations and I do my people strategy SOS. So if you're waving the white flag because your team is falling apart and you're ready to fire them all, I will come in and I will do my discovery process. And then I come back to you with my, my analysis recommendations. And then we talk about how we need to move you forward and where we need to get you to, so that you can really leverage those incredible people you have to drive that business plan. Because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. My husband actually just came home the other day. Hopefully none of his people listen to this, but he was in that place where he was like, I'm going to fire them all. Like I'm going to clean house. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what I get is entrepreneurs come to me and they're like, I've done everything I know. I think I'm a good leader. I've done everything I think I can do. Maybe I've lost a couple talented people. Maybe I've got some clients and some complaints, maybe some bad Google. Like, what do I do? Like, I don't know what to do. So I come in, I don't have skin in the game. I can talk to people. It's all confidential. They'll tell me things that they won't tell you. And then because I have 15 years of HR and talent management experience, I can see pretty clearly what's happening, pull out those golden threads. Like what do we got in common here? What's really happening underneath? And then I can say, hey, here are the things that are going really well. Here are the things that are, the wheels are kind of falling off. And let's talk about what we can do to fix them and when, right? What's the timeline? Like you can't do everything all at once. What's a low hanging fruit we can really fix right now that's going to make a big difference? And then how do we build a program so that over a period of months, we can turn the ship around, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Love it.
Nice.
It's lots of fun.
There's so much to dig in here. And Lindsay, we appreciate just scratching the surface on everything that you have in your brain. We will link the way for people to connect to you in the show notes. So please make sure to do that if you're listening and you want to connect with Lindsay with either your own business or with your corporation, so that you can take advantage of everything that she has to offer. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here today. We truly appreciate your input on how to make our home, head, and health happy.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thanks, ladies.
The very last question that we always ask each of our guests is, if you had 30 seconds to share just a sticky note, we call them happy hacks, just a quick little happy hack that somebody can do right now, this very second, to make their home, head, or health happy, what would you say?
That's such a great question. I think my biggest happy hack is to pause, close your eyes, and take 30 seconds. Really focus on breathing in through your nose, exquisitely experiencing the temperature of the air as you breathe in, and then the change in temperature as you breathe out. Do that for 30 seconds. And you will feel a shift. It literally shifts the way your brain works from the left-hand side, which is the saboteur, the inner critic, the place that's beating you up and making you stressed out, into more the right-hand side, the prefrontal cortex, the space where we can experience what the gifts and opportunities are in every situation. So that would be my little hack.
I love that. I've heard a lot of breathing stuff, but never thought about the temperature of the air.
Yeah.
No, me either.
That's a new one.
Yeah. No,
that's going to be new.
Just exquisite focus on the difference in the temperature. And it literally, this is positive intelligence work. And you can look it up online, but it is absolutely based in neuroscience, positive psychology, all these things. And it absolutely shifts the way your brain is functioning in the moment. And it will change the way that you can view whatever it is you're working on, so that you can find the gift, you can see the silver lining, you can see the opportunity, you can move forward in a new, creative, innovative way.